Good day, everyone. And we are here to talk about the issues and concerns of genetic engineering and the GMOs, or the genetically modified organisms. So, genetic engineering is a controversial issue because it poses ethical concerns. Critics have branded GMO products as Frankenfood based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It's a story about the scientist Victor Frankenstein who created a monster that turned against his own creator. So, this brand of criticism warns of the possible negative side effects of GMOs. And the following are common issues and concerns on the GMOs related to health and environment. So, these are the following. Number one, possible effects on non-target organisms such as beneficial insects, mammals, wildlife, and endangered or threatened species in the environment. Number two, possible gene flow to or crossing with other varieties, including indigenous crops and with wild relatives. Number three, possible formation of resistant insect pests and microorganisms. Number four, possible persistence of toxins in the environment. And number five, the possible formation of human diseases such as allergy and cancer. So, genetic engineering and genetically modified organisms have sparked intense debate. Then, with critics labeling them Frankenfood, this report outlines key ethical concerns, health risks, and environmental impacts associated with GMOs. So, sa kwan sa tauna, sa ethical concerns. So, number one, unintended consequences. GMOs may have unforeseen effects on humans, animals, and the environment. Number two is patenting life forms. Corporations owning GMO patents raise concerns about control and exploitation. Number three is lack of transparency. Inadequate labeling and disclosure of GMO content. Number two concern is health risks. Number one, allergies. GMOs may introduce new allergens or exacerbate existing ones. Number two is cancer. Potential links between GMO consumption and cancer development. Then number three is unknown long-term effects, insufficient research, and prolonged GMO consumption. Sa paano pagta sa environmental impacts. So, unsa man ang impacts sa genetic engineering or sa GMO sa atoa? Number one is non-target organism harm. GMOs may harm beneficial insects, mammals, wildlife, and endangered species. Number two is ang gene flow, uncontrolled spread of GMO traits to non-target species. Number three, resistant pests. GMOs may foster superweeds and pesticide-resistant insects. Then number four is toxic persistence. GMOs may leave harmful residues in the environment. Then number five is the biodiversity loss. GMOs may outcompete and displace indigenous crops and wild relatives. So, unsa man atong mga recommend para ma-avoid ang negative effects sa genetic engineering? So, number one is rigorous testing and regulation. Number two is mandatory GMO labeling. Number three is public education and awareness campaigns. Number four is support for sustainable organic farming practices. And number five is continued research on GMO safety and environmental impact. So, genetic engineering and GMOs pose significant ethical, health, and environmental concerns. So, addressing these issues through responsible innovation, regulation, and transparency is crucial for ensuring public trust and minimizing potential harm.
GMO contamination. Diri nagpasabot siya nga nasa possible nga modified o another lahi with indigenous nga gamot or wild organism. Example ani pagdaghan og BT corn karugayan magsagol. Ang lahi sa variety corn or mais which is may yellow siya or maputi nga gigamit nato sa atong pagkaon sa mga ayok. Ang contamination sa indigenous crops or pagtanom which is genetically engineered DNA is permanente o mahimo siyang lisod ug mahal puksain nga naay possible mahimo siya og indigenous species nga tanom to extinct.
Good day everyone, today we will talk about GMO's risk. Critics of GMO's risk concerns about their potential health and environmental risks. They worry that genetically modified foods called lead to the development of new or stronger strands of pathogens. There are also fears that toxins from GMOs could build up in the soil, harming beneficial organisms. Additionally, the long-term effects of consuming GMOs are still uncertain, which adds to the caution surrounding their use.
The following are some examples of mischief concerning GMOs. So we have EBD toxins and monarch butterflies. EBD toxin is a protein produced by the source bacterium Bacillus thuringiensis that can be used as organic insecticides. EBD toxins can make resistance to pests. However, EBD toxins can have adverse effects on non-target insects like monarch butterflies if they are closely related to the target pest. Some studies have found that BD toxin corn pollen is anotoxic to black swallowtail larvae in the field, but the toxicity threshold that BD corn pollens vary based on environmental factors and expressions of individuals in BD corn pollen or BD corn event. So, bovine growth hormone or Posilac, recombinant bovine growth hormone, is an artificial growth hormone that is made in a lab or in a genetic technology. Growth hormone, also called somatotropin, a protein made by the pituitary gland in humans.
Terminator or suicide seeds. Terminator seeds, also known as suicide seeds of genetic use at restriction technology or GURT, are genetically modified seeds that are designed to be infertile or to not have certain fertile traits of the first generation plant. The technology is used by agricultural companies to by protect their intellectual property and involvement of generation modified organism or GMOs. Terminator seeds work by actualization of specific genes using control stimulus. This prevent farmers from reproducing the desired traits of the first generation plant on their own. The technology can also prevent genes from specific into surrounding environmental.
So patent issue. The issue of authorization is also present, particularly regarding who is authorized to use modified or altered genes. For example, the Bt toxin gene is protected by the patent of the agrochemical company Monsanto. If Bt corn contaminates native corn varieties, Monsanto may sue local farmers for unauthorized possession of their protected genes. So Monsanto has already sued and won suits against US and Canadian farmers. These farmers were fined with large amounts of money for the presence of Monsanto's patented soya and canola genes in their crop fields. So genetic engineering issue is for fear that it might result in the introduction of an unfavorable and possibly dangerous traits into microorganisms that were previously free of them, or may exacerbate productivity gaps in agriculture, disadvantaging small farmers, especially in developing countries who cannot access or afford genetically.
Ethical issues. Genetic engineering is a powerful technology that allows us to change the very building blocks of life. This raises ethical issues and questions, especially when it comes to religion. Some people believe that genetic engineering is wrong because it's like playing God. They think we shouldn't interfere with nature's processes. Others, including religious groups, see genetic engineering as a tool that can be used for good. They argue that it can help solve problems like hunger and diseases. For example, the Vatican, the Church of England, and the Institute of Islamic Understanding Malaysia have all said that genetic engineering can be used to improve our lives. But they also warn against using it to modify human genes. It is important to remember that there are different perspectives on this issue. There are many ethical concerns surrounding genetic engineering, and it's important to have open and honest conversations about them.
In addition, research institutions, as well as those concerned with public health and safety, generally attest to the safety of genetically engineered groups. In summary, various authoritative bodies have consistently affirmed the safety of genetically modified foods. The National Research Council in 2004 reported no documented adverse health effects from genetic engineering in humans. The American Association for the Advancement of Science in 2012 emphasized that modern biotechnology for crop improvement is safe. Similarly, the Council on Science and Public Health in 2012 noted that nearly 20 years of consuming bioengineered foods have shown no substantiated health consequences.
Genetically modified foods, also known as genetically engineered foods or bioengineered foods, are foods produced from organisms that have had changes introduced into their DNA using various methods of genetic engineering. So, a few fresh fruits and vegetables are available in GMO varieties, including potatoes, summer squash, apples, papayas, and pink pineapples. And many foods come from genetically engineered plants, including the oil crops, and they have canola, soybean, and corn oil. And they have other crops, sugar beets, alfalfa, cotton, and eggplant.
So now let's talk about a case of genetic engineering here in the Philippines, which is the BT talong. So ang BT talong is a insect-resistant eggplant made through genetic engineering. So to explain, the BT talong case in the Philippines was a landmark controversy surrounding genetically engineered crops. In 2019, the Supreme Court of the Philippines initially banned field testing of BT talong, a genetically modified eggplant, due to concerns over potential health and environmental risks made by environmental groups like Greenpeace. However, this decision was later reversed in 2016 as the court deemed the case moot since the field trials had already been completed and the biosafety permits had expired. So the initial ban sparked opposition from farmers and scientists who argued that it deprived them of a valuable tool to boost productivity. They pointed out that BT talong is resistant to the destructive fruit and shoot borer, or the FSB pest, and has been safely used in countries like India and Bangladesh. Moreover, BT talong reduces the need for pesticides, which can harm beneficial organisms and pollute the environment. So, there are key arguments against BT talong, which is the potential health risks, then concerns over unknown long-term effects on human health, environmental risks, fears of disrupting the natural ecological balance. So, the key arguments for BT talong are: number one, increased productivity. So, resistant to FSB, reduced crop losses. Number two is reduced pesticide use, and it minimizes harm and to beneficial organisms and environmental pollution. Number three is the safe use in other countries, successfully cultivated in India and Bangladesh with no substantial adverse effects. So the reversal of the ban allows for further research and potential cultivation of BT talong in the Philippines. But the debate highlights the need for careful consideration of GMO's potential impacts.
Policies and guidelines. Transgenic plants have undergone rigorous testing for safety in various countries, including the US and the Philippines, where they are regulated by specific agencies. In the US, the USD, FDE, and EPA assess these plans, while the Philippines National Committee in Biosafety (NCBP) oversees research and development in this area. Established in 1990, the NCBP create policies on genetic engineering and regulates GMOs in collaboration with various government departments. And the Philippines follows the Cartagena Protocol to protect its biodiversity and ensure public and environmental safety when handling genetically modified.
Genetic engineering in the Philippines. Agricultural biotechnology is recognized by the Philippine government. So the Philippines is actively using agricultural biotechnology to improve its food security and agricultural sustainability. The goal is to improve food security, reduce reliance on chemical inputs, and boost the economy, but there are the few challenges like public concerns about GMO, limited resources for research, and ensuring small farmers have access to this technology. But the Philippines is committed to using biotechnology to make it agricultural efficient and sustainability. There are research involving transgenic crops to conduct at the following institute. The first is the International Rice Research Institute or IRRI, Los Baños, Laguna, which developed varieties of rice and works environment sustainable in rice farming. So the IIR is a global organization based in the Philippines, particularly in Los Baños, Laguna, that focuses on improving rice production and the life of rice farmers worldwide. They've been developing high-yield rice varieties and promoting sustainability farming practices. Their work has helped reduce hunger and poverty of specifically in Asia. The second is the National Institute of Molecular Biological and Biotechnology or Biotech. Biotech is a research institute of the University of the Philippines. The purpose of biotech is to research and develop new technologies using biotechnology to improve agricultural, the environmental and food production, and the human health also. So biotech works on areas like fertilizer and many more. The impact is to agricultural productivity. Biotech also is a leading hub in the Philippines. There are also the PhilRice or the what we call the Philippine Rice Research Institute or Science City of News Nueva Ecija, which attached to the Department of Agriculture. Though the PhilRice in the Philippines leading rice dedication to improving rice production and farmers' livelihood also. So makatabang Japon siya sa mga farmers. Ang methods na ilang gagamiton is pest management and fertilizer. They develop new rice variety or so katong lain-laing mga klase sa mga bugas na ang mga nutrients po daghan and help ensure enough rice for everyone in the Philippines. So kani siya na institute is nag-develop sila na ang mga pagkaon sa tao is enough gid siya, dili siya hagbong sa kanang wala na gimakaon. And also the number 4 is the Institute of Plant Breeding is a research facility dedicated to improving crops through selective breeding. So kato ilang ipananom na agid tay mga seeds na different variety. The goal is to create better crops for farmers and consumers. Sa ilang gagamitos is genetic modification. So katong i-improve ang like sa giingon ni ma'am na i-improve ang seeds sa rice para mahimo siyang healthier og daghan ang maka-benefits. The impact of this institution is to contribute the food security. Think of them gitawag sila na mga crop scientists who are constantly working to make plants better. So gilaging gitrabaho ayo para ang mga kanon ang mga plants na gipanghimo nila is naagi mga sustansya. There are also the PCC of Philippine Carabao Center is a government agency dedicated to improving the life of Filipino through the Carabaos. The goal of PCC is to promote, conserve, and develop the Carabao as a valuable resources for milk, meat, draft power, and hide. Methods they research of breeds. The impact of PCC is the aim to improve the livelihood of farmers, increase food security. Essentially, the PCC is working to make a Carabao a more valuable asset for Filipino farmers and calamities. So, katong mga Carabao na sustansya og mga meat, milk, and different variety. And that's all.